Hi folks, Salar here, the Venturepreneur. I spent a career creating businesses the hard way, so you don't have to. Today's topic, what does an actual structure, the model of a venture actually look like? Great question, so glad you asked. I would be happy to tell you.
All right, if you've ever been involved in a business before, freestanding venture or part of a bigger business unit, you're probably used to an organizational chart that looks a little bit like this, right? Pretty standard stuff, business school 101, okay? Its primary purpose is to reflect specialization, different boxes for different functions, and accountability. Everybody is accountable to the decision maker at the very, very top, and authority making those decisions come down. But look at what the side effect. First, it concentrates power and accountability at the top, suggesting that information goes up and decisions come down. That makes it very difficult to think about everybody at the same tier or sitting around at the same level when decisions actually have to get made. Second of all, it makes sure that it seems to imply that the leader's responsibility is to make sure that all the different boxes are talking to one another, which in practical terms doesn't make any sense. They have to be able to do that on their own. And then next, it very reasonably suggests that if you're in one of these boxes, you're not in the other box. Right? Makes sense. What that results in is a sense of silo thinking. It's very common, even with small ventures. Your team is doing great, but the other teams, maybe even the whole business, are failing. But that's okay, because in our organizational chart, we're isolated from one another. And then finally, and probably most importantly, there are whole classes of stakeholders critical to day-to-day functioning that aren't even mentioned in this chart. Where are your advisors? Where are your investors? Where are your partners and your vendors? Where are your customers? Now, I'm not saying that hierarchical org charts like that are bad. Ventures are not democracies, for a reason. Hierarchies tell you who gets to make decisions when people disagree. There are lots of other purposes for how they work. What I am saying is that it often leads to unintended consequences that are negative and just happen to correlate to some of the most important organizational problems in business. So let me give you another visual model to consider. What if a venture were a circle? At the center of that circle is the leadership. Surrounding them is the team, the full-time people who are dedicated to running the business. Surrounding them are your advisors and your investors, your partners, your vendors, everybody who actually has a stake in the business operating day to day, and ultimately the customers themselves. The idea here is that decisions flow outward and information flows inward. More on this in a part 2.